Welcome to the worst writer in the world with me, Rufus, and he's heart-shaped, he's made of cardboard, he's full of chocolates.
It's Howard Long.
Yes, it is. And happy Valentine's Day, everybody. This episode is actually coming out on Valentine's Day.
Ooh,
so
sexy.
if you are the sort of person who likes romance, then let's hope we've got a good, appropriate, sexy episode in store for you. Something lovely and romantic.
Something you and your partner can listen to and enjoy together.
Yeah, over a glass of wine. That's romantic, right? Wine and a teddy bear holding a heart. That's romantic. A little teddy bear holding a heart.
Yeah.
Right? What else? What else is romantic? Rose petals.
Eating loads of chocolate, getting flowers all over the floor. Yeah.
Murdering roses.
Yeah.
Right, that's what romance is, isn't it? I know. I understand it. Seen it on TV. All right. Thank you to the British Comedy Guide for romantically hosting this show.
Ooh.
Thanks to all of our lovely patrons on Patreon for saucily supporting this show. And thanks to you for listening sexily with your ears.
One of the secret erogenous zones, of course, the earlobe.
Yeah, absolutely. And we live in your ears. Every week you put us in your ears, you sauce bucket.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started, shall we?
Yes, please.
So, Howard, you said you had a surprise for me.
That's right.
What kind of surprise is it? Is it a present surprise? Is it gifts? Is it a giving me lots of money surprise? Is it a cheese surprise?
Well, let me take my trousers off and you'll find out.
Oh, no, it is a cheese surprise.
Yeah, it is a cheese surprise.
I was hoping for the other kind of cheese, like regular cheese, not man cheese.
Although that's where I keep my cheese.
Okay, well, that's okay then. I mean, as long as it's regular cheese.
Yeah, it's regular cheese.
Kept pleasantly warm among your genitals.
Groinily warm
then
cheese.
That's fine.
It's fondue. It's fondue by now.
Oh, no.
So warm down there.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, you've put me off it again. You talk me round and then you put me straight back off it again. Now, tell me about this challenge.
Yeah, so I was just thinking here on the Worst Writer in the World show,
Yeah.
I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if we weren't the worst writer in the world and we were really good writers in the world? And the only way to become good writers in the world is to progress and become better. Practice, yeah, that's the word.
Learn things. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
And in order to do that, you've got to try everything and like really get out of your comfort zone.
Well, I'd say I've learned a lot from reading young Howard's work. I mean, admittedly, a lot of it is what not to do, but that's valid too, right?
That is valid.
I feel like we've really, we take apart those stories. We see how stories are constructed. We learn a lot from the cleverness and sometimes the missteps of young Howard, don't we?
Yeah, for example, one of my constant missteps is to introduce way more characters than are necessary, be it 10 turkeys, who I can't dispose of, or 18 children on a bus.
Yeah, and not to mention 4 adults. That was too many as well. What about 5 children and 1 adult, Howard?
Yeah.
An enormous number of moles.
Yep.
For example. No, they're not moles. They're humanoid mole people.
Yeah.
I'd say The Firm has too many characters in it, right? Because there's a lot going on and you keep jumping around and there's like 10 characters in each situation.
Yes.
The one you got right was Forget Me Not, where you just went, I'm just going to have 2.
Exactly, and that's what I'm thinking.
Nothing's going to happen.
This is what I'm thinking. Like, if you keep your core cast down, then you can really get to the heart of things.
True.
Never proven more so, as you say, in Forget Me Not, and of course the classic Ginger Beesting, which only has 2 characters.
2 characters who barely speak. Yeah, no, I'm going to say Forget Me Not, yes.
Mm-hmm.
A good number of characters. Ginger Beesting, perhaps too many characters. maybe none was the right number for that story. And we'd be less traumatized by it,
No, it's great. There's Sally Edme, that's a good character. Her nipples, that's 2 more characers. Stood to attention.
The generals, as she likes to call them.
Yeah. Henry Rollins, for some reason, shares the same name with a rock star who I've never heard of. So weird.
Yeah.
And his penis, another soldier standing to attention.
Major character. Yeah. And that lolly. Let's
Yeah,
not forget that lolly, which is perhaps the
Yeah.
main character in the story. Certainly the most memorable one.
So I was thinking, with all that in mind,
Yeah.
I thought I would challenge you to step out of your comfort zone and write like Howard when he was
Okay,
at
no,
his
wait,
best.
wait. All
At
right,
his
but
best.
Tell me you're going to say, like, do a follow-up to Moles or...
No, too many characters,
I
like
could
we
do
said.
the Firm.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
I think
I've already done most of these things because we did do a follow-up to Moles.
No, I just want you to think back to when you were like 18 and someone let you kiss them. You know, back when
I know.
back when you know.
When I was 18, I was trying not to let people kiss me. Like, no, keep your distance. I don't want your germs. I tell you what, I've been proved right in the present, haven't I?
you have, yeah.
But anyway, no, sorry, I interrupted. Carry on. What you want about? What's this challenge? Because I'm getting distinctly disturbed by what you are implying at the moment. I can't help but
it's not an
suspect
implication.
you.
It's a fact.
Okay. It's explicit.
Factualication,
Yeah.
yes.
What are you going to say? Go on.
I would like for you, Rufus Penzance, to write a erotic story in the mould of Ginger Beesting.
Do you think that's wise? I mean, firstly, I feel like you fully nailed that genre, and
I did.
We work together, so only one of us needs to know how to write saucy erotica. But also, don't you think that I am the worst person to try and write about?
Which is why, this is what I'm saying. That's the point. You're the worst, but once you've done it, you won't be the worst because you'll definitely be proven to be better than me. I'm thinking straight away.
I don't know. I suppose this show is called The Worst Writer in the World, and this will be an appropriate title if I try and write something that I know nothing about and feel very uncomfortable around.
Yeah.
And don't want anything to do with, and please leave me alone and stop asking me to, because I don't want to.
It's gonna be great because I've worn out listening to Ginger Beesting now. I can't get it up for that anymore, so I need some new erotica to get me all horny.
All right, fair enough. How long have I got?
2 days.
2 days, fuck.
I'll give you 2 days.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That way you don't, because I know it's going to disturb you, so that means you don't have to you really get balls deep in it.
To be honest, I think, I appreciate that because I don't want my balls to be involved.
Well, they better be.
No, I'm not going to be in it. I'm not going to be like you, right? Doing a self-insert character describing Henry Rollins was bald and had glasses and was old and didn't like sex.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Well,
I'm going to try not to do that.
Renry Rollins, he'll be, won't he?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, Renry Hollins.
Henry Hollins.
It's weird that Henry Rollins has our initials, isn't it?
What's that about? Yeah.
All right, give me 2 days and then we'll come back and I don't know. I guess the tradition is you'll have to read it, right? I'll write it so that you can read it. It's not something we usually do on this show, is it? I mean, usually either I'm reading what you write or we are reading our own work in Great Bitch Leave. So
do I have to read
you're
it?
going to have to read this one. Yeah, you made me.
It's not fair. You know I can't read.
Well, we have to both suffer, okay?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to make you read it. And I'm going to write it with that in mind as well. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Do you know, Ginger Beesting, of course, that was actually the first thing that we did where I read something that you wrote, wasn't it? That was the beginning of, essentially, this show.
Ah, yes.
And we did that in 2012.
Really?
We recorded that. It was one of the first things we recorded. We'd only done a few days, like, messing around trying to come up with the Man by Cow podcast, basically.
Yeah.
And you'd come up with this idea of me reading that because you thought it'd be funny. You were absolutely correct about that. And also created a whole new show that would last longer than any of the others.
Yeah.
Just by handing me those pieces of paper.
Well, this is interesting then, because that's when you first learned to be a really good orator. And so hopefully...
I think that came later. Listening to that episode, I think orating well came long after that.
But this will be my first step into reading other people's work and becoming as good as you are. This show should be called Worst Writer in the World, Best Speaker in the World, shouldn't it?
I think you started out much better than me because you went to RADA
Yeah.
and got stuck in the cupboard that time and had all that time in the cupboard to practice speaking. Yeah, no, I think Ginger Beesting is so very before I developed any ability to read your work, because there's not even any like voices in it. I mean, there's only about 3 lines of dialogue, but
Well, there you go.
none of the characters go, Sally Eppy, do you want to go upstairs and fuck?
Yes.
I mean, even though Henry only gets like 1 line, no one else could have smelt so sweet as you, Sally Eppy, would have been what it would have been like if we did it now.
Yes.
All right. Okay, well, I think now is probably the time when I have to go and start suffering for a couple of days and writing this.
Well, if you need any tips, Golden Showers is very popular in erotica.
I seem to remember that wasn't true. I seem to remember the publisher gave you a letter that said the exact opposite, right?
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like, you got to break the rules to, you want to subvert the genre and make it, you want to do something new and exciting.
The thing is, I tell you what, I mean, I think in that episode, when I'm reading Ginger Beesting, I'm probably quite unfair to you because I will accuse you of writing something that really isn't erotica, or I don't know what erotica is. I've never read. That's the only erotica I've read is that. Mm-hmm. That could be for all I know. That could be exactly what erotica is, word for word. I do believe you, because if I hear it now, I'm like, no, I'm probably wrong about most of my comments on this, except for the ones where I'm just going, ugh. I'm right about that.
Yeah,
but I think I'd probably feel that way about any and all erotica. All right. I'll see you on Thursday then.
Fantastic. Look forward.
Little Rufus dreamed of being a writer, so he studied English literature. Don't tell him that he should have, he might fight you, even though it's true, even though he is second worst writer in the world. Second worst writer in the world. Second worst writer in the world. The second worst writer in the world.
Don't open it until we're actually started, because we don't get all your reactions in.
Well, I won't react weirdly like you did. I'll be loving it.
No, you probably won't actually.
Because
it's so much tamer than anything you wrote, because I'm such a wuss.
You're not going to see my hands for the duration of this recording.
All right, I did my best, Howard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it went very well, to be honest, but I did my best. I tried, like I said, I don't know much about erotica. In fact, the only erotica I've ever read is Ginger Beesting by Stretchett Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I've done my best to channel what I learned from you, and because it's all about learning and getting better, so I've tried to learn from you.
I'm sure it's going to be great. I mean, I've read some of your other things, and you're usually very good.
Thanks. That sounded so patronising. It sounded super insincere. I've read 1 or 2 of your other things.
Well,
and they were good.
I mean, one of my favourite stories ever is the story about the snowman competition. So...
Which I wrote when I was about 6.
Yeah.
What you're saying is nothing I've done in the last 3 decades has been worth shit.
Well,
but that one was great.
You've never really topped that. But hopefully today you can.
Well, you've never topped Jack's turkeys.
No, I'm not going to deny
and
that.
You couldn't even think of 10 things to happen to turkeys.
I could. 2 went into a poultry house. What's wrong with you?
I said you couldn't think of 10 things. Not things to happen to 10 turkeys, I explicitly said.
Oh.
You couldn't think of 10 things to happen to turkeys. I was careful.
Yeah, all right, but I'm an English person, not a maths person.
Being English is not an excuse. It was in the past, but nowadays you can't get away with that. Now you have to be American.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you ready to start?
Yeah, I guess so. Here we go. Well, I'm very immediately excited to discover
Yeah.
that apparently it's a sequel.
Well, I can't write my own property in this area. I've got no idea where to start. I needed your help.
I'm trying not to look at it, but I can already see that it's got the same character.
Well, it's a sequel. You can't just do it's not an anthology. It's a sequel.
Confusingly titled, though. It's called Ginger Beesting 2. The Nightmare Continues.
Don't you remember how how Ginger Beesting was all about how hopeless and sad life is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the nightmare continues. Don't worry.
No, but I mean, but at the end they found some solace by fucking or something, right?
Well,
The
that
power of
might not
fuck.
continue now.
Oh shit! Oh fuck! They broke up, did they? Oh no!
No. Let's find out.
Ginger Beesting 2: The The Lovely Dream Continues, and it's by somebody called Rufus Womanzance.
Because you wrote under a female pseudonym, didn't you? So I thought that's obviously the right thing to do. I better do it as well.
And without further aplomb, I give you Ginger Beesting 2: The Nightmare Continues by Rufus Womanzance. The Office.
Can't imagine what's going to happen next. Yeah.
Was linear.
Wow. What a good start to a story.
I mean, you're supposed to kind of take it and run with it, not just repeat it.
I didn't know where to go with that. The Office continued being linear. The Office lineared all the way down to the end. You know, what do you do with that? It's already complete.
Well, it's a sequel. It's like you go with like a non-linear Office, don't you?
Oh, wow. I mean, that sounds difficult. Maybe that's for part 3.
The Office was linear and had chairs in it.
See, you wanted me to go further, and I have.
The type of chairs that make you feel sad and hopeless and remind you that life is a pointless anthology of suffering, punctuated by a fatal full stop with no epilogue because of death.
All right, now, see what I've learned? Right?
It's a bit heavy.
But I've learned from you. Like, what you've got to do is firstly set up how everything's awful, and then fuck. Right? That's what I learned.
Okay, but you've gone really far, so there better be some seriously good fucking later on. Then.
Okay. Probably.
A fatal full stop with no epilogue because of death. But on the bright side, sex. Ooh, sexy sex. Yes, please, madam.
I'm trying to get into the mind
I'm
of someone.
not sure you're taking it entirely seriously.
I'm trying to get into the mind of someone who really thinks sex is good.
Because...
Someone who's really interested in sex. And that's because I think that's what erotica readers probably want. They want to feel like their writer really loves sex too.
Yeah, okay. Because sometimes when all the flowers have died and your cheese has gone off and the dogs are crying, sometimes the only prescription is to fuck.
Yes.
And no matter how cold the linoleum, how linear the office, how big the windows, or how comprehensive the CCTV, the fucking will find a way.
Damn right it will. Jeez. Now, you told me, in this challenge, you told me I should learn from you, the expert of erotica, and I feel like I have.
That's very good. Is the fucking will find a way from the original one as well?
Yeah, I mean, the structure of that sentence is basically the same. Yours is more like, no matter how grey or like how terrible life is, the fucking will find a way. I forget the wording. But you're going for some serious poetry. But I was looking for equally terrible things, like your cheese has gone off and your dog's crying.
Yes, no terrible things, I know. Very sad. Fortunately, there's fucking, yes, I get it. It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah.
Thinking about now, because this is a film you've not seen, Jurassic Park, but I'm certainly thinking of Jurassic Park, that...
When I think of fucking, my first thought is Jurassic Park.
No, there's this whole thing about how life. It's Jeff Goldblum is about how life will find a way, and and that's kind of like this.
Maybe
so
that's what you were thinking of when you wrote Ginger Beesting. You know, maybe you were like, well, if dinosaurs can find a way, so can fucking.
Fucking. Henry Rollins hadn't been enjoying his job so much recently.
All right, now I just like to explain. Sorry, that you wrote yours from Sally's point of view,
Ah.
right? Which apparently is the right way to do erotica. Apparently, people prefer female point of view.
So you did do some research.
I did. I read one article about. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I did read one article that was like 10 things you should do, and I ignored most of them. Probably all of them.
Well done. Good.
Except
That's
the
what
one
I'm
that
saying.
said
Break
don't-
the rules. Be a maverick. Get some weeing.
It didn't say that, so Yeah, it said that people prefer female point of views, but you'd done that, so I was like, I should write it from the other point of view, and I did it from Henry's POV instead.
Because you're a big, big misogynist. I get it.
Also that, yeah.
Unlike feminist Howard, who was writing female leads in 2012.
No one had ever heard of them back then. No one had ever dreamed there could be a woman going, oh, I do like cock. Oh, my life's meaningless, but I do want sex with a man. Yeah, you're a feminist, it's true. Carry on.
Thank you very much. Henry Rollins hadn't been enjoying his job so much recently, not since his colleagues had started calling him Stinky Wee Smell Man and refusing to sit with him at lunch. But it wasn't Henry's fault. But it wasn't Henry's fault he'd smelt of piss that day. He'd been trying to do a good turn for his co-worker, Sally Edmead. He saw she was upset, self-conscious, embarrassed, so he'd pissed on her to make her feel better.
That is true. That is what happened.
Henry Rollins always pissed on people when they were sad.
I extrapolated. I saw what happened in yours, and I tried to extrapolate character from it.
Because Henry Rollins was generous and caring. For example, a few weeks earlier, Henry had been at a funeral and the widow couldn't stop crying. So Henry had stood up on the coffin, got his massive knob out and wazzed all over her.
Erotica! See, I mentioned a massive knob at a funeral. Erotica.
Because usually there's only one stiff at a funeral, but at this one, there's two, right? Yeah.
I think there's more than two, because a lot of the people in the pews are like, oh, pissing.
Well, as soon as they get pissed on, they're all getting rages, aren't they?
Yeah, that widow's got a real rage.
Henry'd been here. And the widow couldn't stop crying, so Henry had stood up on the coffin, got his massive knob out, and wazzed all over her. And if you're not from the UK, wazz means wee, if there's any confusion there.
I mean, and if you are from the UK... seem to be exclusionist then, actually. I mean, no matter where you're from, everybody, wazzed means we. I don't want people to miss out on that joke just because they're from the UK and we're all arseholes now.
Hooray! Yeah. She'd stopped crying almost immediately, and so had everyone else at the funeral. Sometimes when life has no meaning, the only solution is to piss on people at funerals. Yeah.
Fucking nailed
Good
it.
line.
Learning from the best, you see.
Unfortunately, Sally Edmead had read the situation quite wrongly and thought that Henry was into golden showers and pissed all over him, and now wanted to do it again every day, sometimes twice.
Conflict, you see.
Oh, conflict, Doctor Who.
He's like, I think you mean charges is 5.
Oh, right, what's conflict?
Oh, what are you talking about conflict for? I think you mean charges is 5, Doctor.
Okay.
It is your improv bit.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, the firm. Can't have ever. That's my comment on this story.
Yeah, but I'm doing the reading now.
Yeah.
So, I'll leave all the brilliant improvisation to you, because normally I do all the brilliant improvisation, of course.
Fair enough. While I'm focused on the reading. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
true. Okay. Wow, I suddenly feel the responsibility of your role in this show.
No, not really. You usually do that as well. I didn't realise I had to do both those things.
It's good you've got something to do now.
Okay.
You do all the writing 20 years ago, don't you? That's your job.
Yeah. Okay. When Henry walked into work, he was sure that all the office ladies were staring at him. Perhaps it was his new cologne, or his musky scent of old tobacco and whiskey that made him smell like someone's alcoholic granddad. Or maybe it was because he'd forgotten to put trousers on again, and his unnaturally long penis was swinging around and slapping against his leg as he walked. The sound of flesh, rhythmically banging against flesh made Henry think of that time Sally had asked if she could ride him. Henry had said an enthusiastic, "Yes," and Sally had climbed on his back, slapped his arse, and shouted, "Giddy up, sugar lump!"
Yeah, they don't have great voices in the original. Obviously, you can decide to perform this any way you choose, but Henry is just like, yes, I am just basically a regular voice, but slightly deeper. And I think that Sally is just a slightly high-pitched version. They're very boring, so you do what you want.
Okay. Okay, then wait a second. Henry had said an enthusiastic, "Yes." And Sally had climbed on his back, slapped his arse, and shouted, "Oh, giddy up, sugar lump." Yeah?
Okay. And as I said, it's you are the performer in this one, and you get to make the decisions.
Finally.
If
I get to do this enough, I might overtake you as the person who plays Tom Baker most.
Never.
Henry Rollins' Doctor Who arrived at his desk.
All right.
Henry arrived at his desk and was surprised to see a note nestled between the keyboard and the stapler, like a penis between the lips of someone who was doing a blowjob.
Now, you see, in yours, you did sexy metaphors. Even when it wasn't a sexy thing, you'd be like, whatever you compare it to should be sexy, and that's what gets the erotica going, right? So
Yes,
I learned that.
You've gone for similes.
I think you did that too. I think.
Okay.
I think that's. I'm basically doing what you did, because similes are a type of metaphor. You see.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, you learn something new
So
every
when
day
I said
here
metaphor, I
on
was
the
kind
Worst
of
Rival.
including similes.
Okay. The note had Henry's name on it, in handwriting that was unfamiliar. Unfamiliar, like an unfamiliar penis. That you haven't seen and haven't put in your mouth yet, but probably will before long.
Another thing you did was, because yours was from Sally's point of view, but all the metaphors were about kind of female anatomy. So I assumed if I do it from male point of view, all my metaphors should be male anatomy metaphors, because I'm just following your lead, you see.
Good. Well done. Merit.
Thank you. 19 out of 20.
20 merit. Unfamiliar, like an unfamiliar penis that you haven't seen and haven't put in your mouth yet, but probably will before long. It had been carefully folded, like a pair of folded legs, with a penis squished between them. And it was written on purple paper, like a purple penis, after someone has been whipping it for a couple of hours.
So yeah, do you see how I'm nailing sex metaphors? Yeah, like I feel like I've got that. I've succeeded with my sex metaphors, and probably some erotic writers could learn from me.
I totally do think that you succeed.
Dear me.
Henry glanced around the desk for a lollipop, but found nothing, which was a shame, because how else would he know who the note was from if they hadn't left a lollipop that smelt of their genitals? It is probably from Sally, thought Henry. She'd been leaving him a lot of notes recently, but she usually accompanied it. But she usually accompanied it. But she usually accompanied it. I can't ever try. But she usually
it.
But she usually accompanied it. I try and say it fast so it was put extra syllables in. Have you noticed?
Yeah, I've noticed, because I just heard you do it like 14 times.
Accompanied it. But she usually accompanied it. But she usually accompanied it with something edible that she'd shoved upside her cunt.
The unexpected use of the word cunt at the end of a sentence is very much something I learned from you.
Thank you. So it's good to save the cunt for the end of the line. You don't want to front end it.
No, don't. Because then people are like, I'm not listening to this sentence. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's rude and it uses
gotta
naughty
surprise them.
language.
Yeah, how are you going to get your grandma to hear the word cunt if you start with it? I'm going to tell you a lovely story now, Grandma, about an office. Cunt having Sally Edmead was in a linear office.
With her cunt.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work. But she usually accompanied it with something... But she usually accompanied
all that
it...
practice really paid off.
But she usually accompanied it with something edible that she'd shoved upside her cunt. To be honest, the thrill of going up to the top floor with Sally had been wearing a little thin recently. She was no longer satisfied with him just spunking and pissing all over her. And now she insisted that he pour baked beans over her head as well. "Oh, beans," she would moan, whilst writhing about in tomato sauce. "Yes, Henry, bean me. Cover me in beans. Pour, pour beans over me and eat me like toast." Henry thought it was a bit much. Pissing and jizzing all over Sally he could deal with, but now he had to go to the shop every morning and buy loads of tinned beans. And he couldn't even eat the beans after Sally had been rolling around in them on the office floor. Even worse, the man who worked in the corner shop was starting to look at Henry strangely, like he suspected that Henry was doing something weird with all these beans. Which he was. Well, no, it's not weird. I don't think you should be like... No, you should... All sexual proclivities are fine. You know, you shouldn't be judging your characters and
Consensual.
saying it's wrong to roll around in beans and jizz.
Yeah, but not at work. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but what happens on the top floor stays on the top floor. Until the cleaner comes and cleans it up, obviously. Yeah.
All right, new tagline for these shows. What happens on the top floor stays on the top floor. Excellent.
Yeah. Henry unfolded the purple note and read, "Dear H, please come to a meeting with HR today at 9:15. Thanks very much, Derek."
Oh, I see why you've chosen that voice.
Yeah, I saw the word Derek.
Little callback to Mystery of the Golden Bus, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Henry turned the note over and over in his hands, searching for some hidden sexual message. Was it code? Was Derek an anagram of "do me a dick"? Was Sally going to wear a strap-on and fuck him whilst insisting he call her Derek? Again. There was only one way to find out. Henry would have to go to this meeting, and since it was already 9:10, that only gave him 5 minutes to go upstairs and and wank himself ready for it.
Howard, I was thinking about it, is this the first time that I've written something and then you've read it?
What, that you've purposefully written, or it's just something you've written?
Anything
Because we read each other's things in the pilot.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yes, no, that would be. But apart from, is that the only time?
I honestly don't know, because I've not been paying attention.
I think it might be. So apart from those very like, because my school books particularly were like, yours spanned a wider age range, but mine were all from like about the age of 7 and below, because
Yes.
they just didn't seem to exist beyond that.
The kind of thing I can handle, you know.
No, I was going to say you're nailing it, because I, certainly when I was writing it, I didn't know. I was like, I'm not sure how to write this, because like, I know if I'm writing Great Beesting, I know how I'm going to say it, but I don't know how to write when someone else is going to say it. But you're absolutely nailing it. You're making it very sexy.
Well, I do have this sexy nasal voice, don't I, that really like lends itself to erotica. Oh, and then the boob came out and there was a penis there.
Ooh. I think all of us listening are all thinking the same thing, which is right now. Yeah.
Oh, Doctor Who.
I think we're all thinking that when you speak.
Yes.
All right, I'm ready to carry on if you are.
I was Brecht ready to carry on if you are. Another great catchphrase. Henry knocked on the door to HR. and a voice shouted to come in. He opened the door with his free hand and walked through. His free hand.
Little details, making it erotic at every moment, you know.
Very good. Inside, two people were sitting at a table. There was Derek, the head of HR, sitting stiff and erect in his chair, his head bright purple and full of blood.
True, right?
Yeah. Next to him sat the familiar bony form of Sally Edmead, who Henry barely recognised when she wasn't covered in spunk and beans.
Thank you for joining us this morning,
Howard, said Derek. Henry, said Henry.
What?
I prefer to be called Henry Rollins, yes.
What, like the finger?
Yes, because I'm cool and punk, like Henry Rollins. Derek glanced down at the folder, which lay open on the desk before him, like a pair of lady legs, lying open on a desk, because sex was about to occur.
I tell you what, I mean, I've put a lot of effort into this, of something I really don't understand, and I really hope that everyone's feeling super turned on at the moment by my amazing metaphors.
It's very convincing. I really feel like you meant it.
Thanks. I was really trying to get into the mind of someone who wanted to talk about sex.
Sure. I can tell that, like me, when I wrote mine, that you were having to stop after every paragraph to crank one out because you were so turned on by your own work.
No. Stop and decompress. What's the word?
That's where the idea came from, because I used to write it in the lounge, and I was like, I need to crack one out, so I had to go upstairs. I can't crank one out in the lounge, so I went up to my bedroom, and that's where the whole story comes from.
I'll just get in the lift. Sally, what are you doing up here? Hang on a minute. This is the story. Sally, of course, is the name of Howard's dog.
Doll. No, dog. I was going with doll. Your dog, yeah.
Yeah.
My dog doll, yeah.
You had to throw it away, though. It got too sticky.
It did do. Covered in beans.
Hello. It said here that your name is Howard Longing,
he said.
not Henry Rollins.
Yes, but I don't like the name Howard Longings. Oh, I think it makes me sound like a wussy girl pants.
That's a bit regressive of you, said Derek, equating girls with weakness.
I didn't equate girls with weakness, said Henry. I equated girls' pants with weakness, which I think is fair. It is fair, agreed Sally, lustily. My pants fall apart at least 4 times a day, probably because I masturbate too much when I'm supposed to be working.
That's what we know about that character.
Henry's cock woke up, like a soldier waking up in the morning and doing some push-ups and then going for a run.
Learning.
No. This is one of the things we need to talk about,
said Derek, pretending he hadn't noticed Henry's erection, even though Henry had a completely naked penis. Oh, Doctor Who.
The phrase naked penis was one of the first things I thought of when I was thinking of this. And I thought, I must use the phrase naked penis somewhere.
Yeah.
We've had several complaints about you two and your lewd behaviour,
said Sally, but in a shy way.
Because that's her character, right? I thought I'd better restate her character.
Hey, dude, we never do it in public, said Henry. We always go up to the sex floor.
No, there's no such thing as a sex floor,
said Derek.
You've been going upstairs to the unrented offices. I've got a complaint from the building management here. Apparently you've been making quite a mess. Something about a lot of beans?
Ooh, beans, said Sally, in a voice that was hot and steamy, like a sex pasty. Good, I like that.
Yeah.
I really don't understand what people are complaining about, said Henry. We've been very subtle. I'm surprised they even noticed.
You're both masturbating right now,
said Derek, pointing at Henry and Sally's rapidly moving right hands.
You, Henry, are walking around with no trousers or underpants on, and Sally spends the whole day with her hands inside her knickers.
I'm just a lonely misfit, said Sally. I can only find happiness by being fucked and then covered in spunk and beans.
Just reiterating the plot of Ginger Beesting 1 plus beans.
Yes, well, said Derek, could you stop doing it at work?
Boring, said Sally.
Yes.
What else are we going to do in this stupid grey office to make the linear time pass more quickly?
Your jobs?
That doesn't sound very interesting, said Henry. How will we cope with the hollow hopelessness of office life if we don't get to go upstairs and fuck? Beans! said Sally breathily. Getting quite excited about beans now. I have to say.
She's got a new fetish. Like like you said, you've got to take the story and move it on a bit. You can't just do the same thing again. You've got to take it to a slightly new level. And I thought the next level, after what happened in Ginger Beesting 1, is definitely beans.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's good. Oh, beans, said Sally breathily.
You simply have to accept it, said Derek. Office life is miserable and soul-destroying, and the only thing you have to look forward to is retirement and death. Do you think I like my job? I sit in this windowless office all day, dealing with complaints, trying to think of ways to distract people from the pointlessness of everything they do. When do I get to go upstairs and piss on someone?
Oh, three-way.
Where's my moment of saucy connection in a life empty of joy or colour?
Henry and Sally shared a meaningful look. Their eyes big and round like boobs or something.
Sometimes you run out of steam a bit. Do you know?
It's good. Their eyes big and round like boobs or something. Well, said Henry. We could always do it now.
I don't think I'm following you, said Derek.
It's simple, said Henry, turning to face Derek's bright purple head. Me and you go upstairs to the top floor to get ready. Then Sally meets us there in 5 minutes. And we piss on her! 5 minutes later, Henry and Derek were stood facing the closed elevator, both completely naked and wanking, while they waited for the doors to open.
Because in Ginger Beesting, this is what happened. You didn't see it from Henry's point of view, but this must be what happened. But then he was on his own, just standing looking at a closed door, beating himself off for 5 full minutes. Right.
In the elevator, is that what you think happened?
No, outside it. Because what happened in Ginger Beesting is she got in the elevator, went up, and when the doors opened, he was standing there, naked, wanking. Yeah. So he must have been doing that before the doors opened for up to 5 minutes.
Because when I read things, I don't actually know what I'm saying. I'm just reading them. And I thought that they were in the elevator wanking, but they're not.
Right, no, they're on the top floor waiting for the elevator to arrive. Yeah.
Why are we doing this again?
Said Derek. Oh, we've got to be ready for Sally, Henry explained.
Ready?
Yes, so we can immediately have sex with her, with no foreplay.
And why do we want to do that?
Because it's sex. That's what men want, isn't it? Meaningless, joyless sex that lasts a few minutes and leaves you feeling chafed and unsatisfied. Then, 5 minutes later, you do it again. When your cock is ready. Yes. And then you go home and cry. Because life is too linear.
Yeah, revisiting the themes.
But that doesn't sound like much fun, said Derek. No. Isn't the foreplay a part of what's enjoyable about sex? You know, slowly building anticipation, creating the mood. Not to mention getting to know a person before you fuck them.
Getting to know them, said Henry thoughtfully. You mean recognizing the smell of their vagina?
No. No.
Yeah, good performance.
I mean getting to know them as a person. Building a rapport. Forming an emotional bond.
What are you, some kind of girl?
No, it's just if all I'm going to do is beat off and then ejaculate, I don't understand why I can't do that alone. Why do we need Sally Edmead?
Henry felt his cock growing confused. So you are to stand here, just the two of us men, wanking at a closed elevator, he said. What are you, a gay?
No, I don't think that's what gay men do, said Derek. I think for it to be properly gay, we'd at least have to start wanking each other.
Yes, that does sound pretty gay, Henry agreed, sneaking a look at Derek's penis, which was big and good. Probably more fun than just doing it ourselves as well.
That's true, said Derek. And I reckon your skinny wrists would make my cock look massive.
True.
This is brilliant.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I was very nervous about my first foray into erotica.
This is what was missing from mine.
Conflict.
I really like it now. I mean, like, you know, mine was just an exercise, but this is actually sexy. Henry found he was experiencing a new and unfamiliar feeling. The desire to grab Derek's bollocks, which were hanging there like grenades, ready to explode and murder Henry's heterosexuality.
Oh,
very good.
Wow, metaphor.
To be honest, said Derek, I'm not that into the idea of pouring beans over a woman and then pissing on her.
Me neither, said Henry, despite the fact he'd been doing it every day for about a month.
I'd rather put my I'd rather put my hand on your glistering bell end and have you put your hand on mine.
That does sound quite good, said Henry. There was a ping, and the elevator... There was a ping, and the elevator doors slid open like, insert sex metaphor here, to reveal...
Steam at this point.
Yes, fair enough, it's good. To reveal Sally Edmead ramming a chuppa chup upside her snatch. I see you two are ready for me, she said, her voice raspy like a pea called Ras.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it several times, but very much running out of steam.
Oh, I see you two are ready for me, she said, her voice raspy like a pea called Ras. Oh, no, we've changed our minds, said Henry, pushing Sally back into the elevator and handing her a tin of beans. Sorry, Sally, we've decided to be gay instead. The elevator doors closed on Sally's confused and sad face. Henry would make her feel better later by standing on her desk and pissing on her.
That's his character, you see.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
But first, to business. Henry and Derek fucked, and it was good. Then they had a rest and fucked again when their cocks were ready. They didn't piss on each other, and they were both happy about it.
Now, I learned this not only from you, but also I told you I read that one article about erotica. And actually, they say the actual sex, you don't want to go into too much detail about it. It's more about the build-up to it. And that's what you did as well. So I was like, well, Howard was obviously right about this. Because you did. It's all about the build-up, and then it's like, and then they fucked. And it's like once about 6 words on the fucking. And then move on. And then, and they did it again later when his cock was ready. So, that's all, and that seemed correct to me because that's the boring bit, right? The actual description of fucking. Who wants to read that? It's about the emotional
my first
build-up,
draft. My first draft was a lot longer because it had in out in out in out in out in out for like
Henry
like
put his
pages.
penis in, then he took it out, then he put it back in again.
He took it out. Could you just leave it in? The next day, when Henry arrived at work, he found another note on his desk. It was from Derek, and it contained a handwritten poem.
Oh, wow.
It went like this. I suppose it should be in Derek's voice, or should I just read it as a beautiful poem?
No, probably just read it as a beautiful poem, yeah.
Henry has a big long cock. He used it to my gay unlock. I liked it when we sexed upstairs and ran away. And ran away from spooky bears.
Couldn't think of anything for the fourth. It's really stuck.
Brilliant.
I only had 2
Poetry. It's a metaphor that we don't understand.
No, good one, yeah.
They do. It's a private joke between Henry and Derek.
Yeah.
Sally Edmead looks quite blue. She hasn't got a man to do. Now Henry's fucking me instead. She's been thrown out. Like day-old bread. Yeah. When Henry gets to work today, I hope he'll come to me and say, "Let's go upstairs for a fuck or two. I promise not to piss on you." Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Henry folded the note carefully and slid it into his jacket pocket. He made his way linearly. I just say that.
Linearly.
He made his way linearly down the office. What? I said it like you said it.
Yeah, close enough. Carry on.
He made his way linearly down the office and to Derek's door. "Derek," he said, knocking and peering his head around like a penis emerging from a trouser. "There's something I need to talk to you about." "Oh, no," said Derek, shaking his head like a penis. After it had emerged from a trouser and done some weeing. "You're going to think it was all a mistake and we shouldn't do it again, aren't you? I knew this was too sexy to be true." "No, it's not that," said Henry, closing the door gently and flashing Derek a warm smile that was warm, like a warm penis, that definitely wanted to keep nailing Derek. "I've been really enjoying all the fucking and not pissing on each other. It's really opened up a whole new world for me. I'm not sure if I'm gay, bisexual, or just really super relieved not to be pissing on someone. And do you know what? I don't think it matters." "So, what did you want to talk about?" asked Derek, who had nipples, like admirals, in case you were wondering. "Something happened to me last night. I was on my way home, thinking about how much I enjoyed all the fucking yesterday. When I got bitten by a vampire. And now I'm a vampire." Henry showed Derek his pointy teeth. Said Derek. "Are you going to eat me then?" "I don't think so. I've only been a vampire for a few hours, so I'm not sure what to expect. I seem to have become 60% sexier, and my penis is a lot longer than it was. Look!" Henry showed Derek his penis. It was good.
Now, I'd like to say, as I said, I don't know much about erotica, but I do believe that it often involves vampires. All right, and so I thought I'd better put one
I
in.
see.
All right.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I don't know much about erotica, but I do know a good penis when I see one.
I mean, that's true too, but irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, no, vampires totally do belong in erotica.
Yeah, I thought so.
Your penis is long and good, said Derek. I know, said Henry. And I can do kung fu now. Of course, obviously.
Yeah.
And I can turn into a bat. And apparently, if I hang around long enough, Buffy is very likely to fall in love with me.
True. I've learned about vampires.
That's nice, said Derek. Do you want to go upstairs and fuck now? Yeah, all right then. Do you want me to dress up as a helpless maiden? Well, then you can pretend you've kidnapped me and you're going to suck my blood. Butt out of my penis. That sounds good, said Henry, whose own penis was standing to attention, like a hairy dog.
I was getting very thin on metaphors at this point. I was really, really running out of ideas.
Oh, no, best one yet. Best one yet. Yeah, standing to attention like a hairy dog. They do. Yeah. I mean, all dogs do, but hairy ones particularly, I think. I'll just nip to the shop and buy a white dress, said Derek. Brilliant. Well, you know where to find me. Upstairs on the top floor, standing completely naked in front of the elevator doors, wanking? Oh, you know me so well, said Henry. Then turned into a bat and flew up to the top floor. Henry and Derek had lots of sex, and it was good. Sensing a theme.
I don't want people to be in any
It was
doubt
a bit
about
uncertain at the beginning, but yeah.
whether things are good or not. Especially as we get to the end, I want people to know that their penises are good and the sex is also good.
This is good. It's also good. Yeah. Then they had a rest, and Henry appreciated the fact that he wasn't covered in beans. Later, they would fuck again. Hard and long and perhaps dirty. It may not have been what Seamus Heaney called true love. Did he write about true love, Seamus?
No,
Heaney?
again, at this point, in this final paragraph, I'm very much channeling Beesting 1. And you said the poets, and I thought that was a bit vague, and so I specified which poet.
The best one. Obscene Heaney.
Exactly.
It may not have been what Obscene Heaney called true love, but for the time being, they were needed by somebody. And so, for this simple fact, they were happy. For in a cold, uncaring world, with vampires and werewolves and Frankensteins all going around and eating people or whatever, at the very least, they'd both found, albeit brief, someone to fuck on the top floor of their linear office. The end.
Worst writer in the world. Worst writer in the world. Worst writer in the world. Worst writer in the world.
Thank you for listening to this particularly sexy episode of The Worst Writer in the World. If you would like more stuff by us, including, but not in any way limited to, the exciting live streams of Howard's romance movie, Champagne for Breakfast, which, how long did you say they are? Like 20 hours or something? It's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And that's available to $2, right? So sign up for $2, you can immediately get access to all the videos of us reading Champagne for Breakfast, which is an earlier draft of Notes on Love, the classic Howard Long script, but we skipped all the bits that were in Notes on Love. So we're not retreading anything. We just skipped all the bits that you've already heard and did all the new stuff. So if you need more romance on Valentine's Day, that's where you get it.
Yes, please.
That you can also watch the video of us watching Forget Me Not. That's also available.
Yeah, where?
To the gang, right? It's on Patreon. You just got to scroll through. It's there somewhere. Admittedly, we couldn't find it, but it's definitely there. I'll try and find it and I'll tag it properly.
Oh my god.
But Yeah, we watched the film Forget Me Not with what is it, Tobias Menzies and Mon Mothma. what's the actress name?
Genevieve O'Reilly.
Yes, okay. And we commented on it. No spoilers about what we thought.
We loved it.
And you can watch us watching it if you'd like. Mm-hmm. And that's just the beginning, because there's also like hundreds of hours of audio entertainment and more hours of video entertainment. It's very entertaining there. And it'll cost you as little as $2 a month to get access. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye, milk.
Bye-bye, milk.
He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer. Yeah.